European or Asian descent immigrated to the United States in the mid-1800s. Gert Hovland from Norway was one of these people. He emigrated from Norway and came here to the US with his family in search of a better life. As he said himself in a letter he wrote to a friend in Norway, there was room and jobs for immigrants in America. Therefore, people that could not support their family would come here for economic reasons.
Coming to the United States was a difficult task. Usually only men would come. People would come in steerage because of lack of money. The conditions that they faced were devastating. People were crammed up together in dirty, small decks. Coming to America was a dangerous journey where many got sick and some even died. But still, people from Britain, Ireland, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, and China came to America. Push-pull factors are said to be the cause of immigrants in the U.S. Push factors are circumstances that generally push people out of their native country. Push factors in Europe are population growth. Europe had better food and homes, causing a population growth. Europe soon became overcrowded. Agricultural changes. Landlords took advantage of city growth because of the overcrowdedness. They forced residents out in order for the landowners to farm in large areas. Crop failures. Poor farmers were in debt because of crop failures. It also caused them to starve. They chose to redeem themselves in America instead. Industrial revolution. Factories made cheaper materials than artisans could not compete with. Because of their unemployment status, some artisans decided to come to the United States of America. Religious and political chaos. Quakers from Norway and Jew from Germany left to stay away from religious harassments. Germans also came because the German Revolution did not work out.
Pull factors are reasons or actions that attracted immigrants to the United States. Some pull factors are freedom. In the United States, everyone had the freedom to practice anything they desire. Economic opportunity. Immigrants looked for a place to live a better life, and they found it in America. Plentiful land. The Louisiana Purchase and Mexican Cession effect on the United States was gaining more than enough land. This attracted Europeans who faced overcrowding in their country.
Scandinavians, or people from Sweden, came to the United States for economic opportunity. Land here was sold for $1.25 an acre, which enticed people to come to the U.S. Swedish laws prevented Scandinavians from immigrating, and preachers advised church members to stay in Sweden. Soon they realized that people were going to leave anyways. Scandinavians who came to the U.S. tried to find places that felt comfortable to them, so most settled in Wisconsin and Minnesota and became farmers.
Germans who immigrated to the United States would settle in Wisconsin or Texas. They chose Wisconsin because the climate would allow them to grow oats. They were looking to settle in places where they were the most comfortable in, and Wisconsin had a German Catholic bishop. They also settled in Texas because it had German culture within it. Many Germans became successful as they opened various types of businesses. They also had a lot of influence in America. The Christmas tree, hamburgers, and hot dogs, gyms, and kindergartens came from Germany.
Most immigrants from Ireland were Catholic and were denied some rights, so they decided to come to the United States. In 1845, Ireland's main food crop, the potato, stopped growing because of a famine. This food shortage to immigrate from Ireland forced about 2 million to immigrate from Ireland. When they came to America, Irish men and women had no savings with little education. Men worked building railroads in very dangerous conditions where many died. Women became servants. They often had to fight for their jobs because they were competing with free slaves. The Irish lived in cities where ships had docked, filling up 1/4 of the population in New York, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Boston.
Population in many cities kept growing abruptly because of new immigrants. In the early 1800s, New York's population went from 60,489 to 202,589. St. Louis' population doubled every 9 years, and Cincinnati doubled every 7 years. Abrupt population growth brought issues for the residents. Houses were compacted together and toilets overflowed, spreading diseases. Crime was also a huge problem. To help new immigrants, societies were set up to aid them, and politicians set up organizations to help. In the late 1800s, people in many parts of the world decided to leave their homes and immigrate to the United States. Fleeing crop failure, land and job shortages, rising taxes, and famine, many came to the U.S. because it was perceived as the land of economic opportunity. Others came seeking personal freedom or relief from political and religious persecution. With hope for a brighter future, nearly 12 million immigrants arrived in the United States between 1870 and 1900. During the 1870s and 1880s, the vast majority of these people were from Germany, Ireland, and England, the principal sources of immigration before the Civil War. That would change drastically in the next 3 decades.
Immigrants entered the United States through several ports. Those from Europe generally came through the East Coast facilities, while those from Asia generally entered through West Coast centers. More than 70% of all immigrants, however, entered through New York City, which came to be known as Golden Door. Throughout the late 1800s, most immigrants arriving in New York entered at the Castle Garden port near the tip of Manhattan. In 1892, the federal government opened a new immigration processing center on Ellis Island in New York Harbor.
Although immigrants often settled near ports of entry, a large number did find their way inland. Many states, especially those with sparse populations, actively sought to attract immigrants by offering jobs or land for farming. Many immigrants wanted to move to communities established by previous settlers from their homelands.
Once settled, immigrants looked for work. There were never enough jobs, and employers often took advantages of the immigrants. Men were generally paid less than other workers, and women less than men. Social tensions were also part of the immigrant experience. Often stereotyped and discriminated against, many immigrants suffered verbal and physical abuse because they were different. While large-scale immigration created many social tensions, it also produced a new vitality in the cities and states in which the immigrants settled. The newcomers helped transform American society and culture, demonstrating that diversity as well as unity is a source of national strength.